continuing on the story that we've been tracking, the secrecy over the hospitalization of U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has sparked a debate among American lawmakers. A long list of people were kept in the dark about his health, not to mention the American public. Those include his deputy, Kathleen Hicks, President Joe Biden, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The Pentagon has released new details about Austin's hospitalization. Officials say that Austin went through an initial medical procedure on December 22nd. On January 1st, Austin had to be admitted to intensive care at Walter Reed Military Hospital in Maryland. A U.S. official said on January 2nd, Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks assumed some of his operational duties while she was on vacation in Puerto Rico. However, Hicks was not aware of why Austin was not available until January 4th. The Pentagon said the delay in disclosing his health condition was due to Austin's chief of staff being off on a sick leave. In a statement later, Austin claimed full responsibility for the secrecy surrounding his hospitalization. And according to reports, some officials were aware of Austin's situation. The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Charles Brown, learned of the hospitalization on January 2nd, for example. Austin sits just below President Joe Biden at the top of the chain of command of the U.S. military, and his duties require him to be available at short notice to respond to any manner of national security concerns. The U.S. Congress was only informed on January 5th, and on Sunday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken admitted that he was also not aware of Austin's medical condition. The Pentagon has not shared any specific details about what led to the urgent hospitalization, only implying that it was due to complications due to an elective surgery. The Pentagon's failure to disclose Austin's condition for days highlights the lack of transparency about Austin's illness, how serious the situation was, and when he can be expected back in office. This also comes at a time when the U.S. is occupied with two wars in two different regions of the world. Several lawmakers have also said the communication breakdown raises serious questions about the leadership within the Pentagon. All right, well, for more on this, we are being joined by Allison Jaslow, former captain, U.S. Army, an Iraq War veteran, and CEO of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. She's joining me live from Raleigh. Thank you so much for joining us, Allison, and thank you so much for your service. We look at this Austin situation. We sort of got it during a news dump on Friday afternoon. And it begs the question, does it suggest that the White House is losing control?
You know, I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but there are certainly more questions than there are answers around this situation. And this is also from an administration that, you know, for most of last year, and we joined them in urging Congress, specifically one senator, to make sure that there were leaders in place across the Department of Defense whose nominations were held up in the Senate. And so I think it is very concerning that the situation even occurred at all, let alone, you know, with the wars, as you mentioned, happening in the background.
And Republican lawmakers are now questioning Austin's role as the defense secretary. Jim Banks has even called on President Biden to replace Lloyd Austin. What are the likelihoods of something like that?
I think it's probably too soon to tell. I think that, you know, there's a bipartisan call for just more clarity here, especially coming out of Congress. And I think that that's sort of the right approach at this juncture. You know, certainly, as you noted, this was rolled out, or the notification came just as we headed into the weekend last weekend. And so hopefully we'll get a little more transparency around what exactly is going on here as people come online today.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And we'll be watching very closely. Allison Jaslow, thank you so much for joining us on WION, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thanks for having me.